right, today we are going to be making some sticky toffee pudding. We get asked about this recipe all the time. When we were in England, about last March, I went there and loved the sticky toffee pudding. I had some in every inn and every pub that we went into for dinner. And then in June, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune that attacks your thyroid. And I could no longer eat processed sugars, one of my favorite things, and no gluten or less gluten. I was not supposed to eat that either. And that's really all they told me. And they're like, here, take this thyroid medication. Here we are, January, and I have made a few recipes for treats that I love. All right, so first I'm gonna prep the dates. You can blend them up. I like to just chop them up. This is about 6 ounces or 7 medjool dates, and I took the pits out. And we're just gonna chop them up and then mix them with the sugar and the butter. Don't make fun of my knife skills. I'm just cooking at home. Or you can make fun of them. Let's pick it apart either way. So when I don't have dates on hand, because sometimes you can't always find them, I also use prunes for this. It doesn't really change the flavor profile. It just adds that moisture and the texture that you need. Get the dates in there. Then we're gonna do 3/4 cup of coconut sugar. And then this is unsulfured molasses. And the reason I'm doing this is because the actual recipe calls for brown sugar, but I'm just gonna add a tablespoon of this molasses to give me the moisture I need in the coconut sugar. Now just so you know, it is gonna be a little darker than a lot of cakes because the coconut sugar is dark. All right, now we're gonna add 4 ounces, maybe. Now we're gonna add 4 ounces of softened butter. And you can do salted or unsalted. I prefer salted butter. I like it like that. 1 large egg. And then I'm gonna mix this together and then we'll add some water. Okay, now the next step is not entirely gluten-free. There's a lot of flours out there that are. So I'm adding 1 cup of Kamut flour. It's an ancient grain. It's high in protein and lower in gluten. And so far I've been able to tolerate it okay, but if you need completely gluten-free, just get yourself a 1-to-1 gluten-free blend and it should work fine in this recipe. 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and then baking powder. You want a whole teaspoon of baking powder. And if you need the recipe all written out, it'll be in the description. Pinch of salt. I usually go for quite a bit of salt, closer to a teaspoon, because, you know, I just told you I like it salty. Mix all that in together. Okay, once it's kind of combined, then I add 3/4 cup of water. All right, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I don't really measure, I just always do the cap. All right, while we're waiting for the oven to heat up, this is basically equivalent of 2 tablespoons. I'm just gonna put these in my little cupcake. What do you call these, cupcake liners? What do you call them, Jamie?
Yeah, that's what those are.
You could use butter to line your cupcake pan, or use a ramekin, that would also work. But I like to do smaller portions because I shouldn't have a lot, so I'm gonna just do a smaller amount. It helps me portion control when I do them like this. The oven is preheated to 350. We're gonna pop that in. I like to leave them in for about 12 minutes. If you do larger portions, they can take up to 20 minutes, but we're gonna go for 12 and check them. All right, so while we're waiting on that to cook, we're gonna start getting the sauce ready, but before we do that, I'm going to pull some cream off the top of this milk. This is Buttercup's milk from the 8th. We're gonna need this. If you just wanna do regular cream, if you're not milking your own cow, that works just fine. You do all kinds of different things. I've even just put a little bit of whole milk over the top of it and it's been fine. Okay, so in here I've got 1/2 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of coconut sugar, and 1/2 cup of organic maple sugar, and 1 stick of butter. We're gonna cook this up on high heat until it starts boiling. And then once it starts boiling, we're gonna continually stir it for 3 minutes, and then we'll add a teaspoon of baking soda. Then this will be the sauce. So this is definitely not a sugar-free treat, but I'm using all organic natural sugars. Nothing that's been heavily processed, and if you need to, we have done it with artificial sweeteners. It just kind of turned it a funky color and had a different aftertaste than I like. I don't do very well on artificial sugars. I don't feel very good when I eat them, and so the coconut sugar and the maple sugar have been good substitutes if I do need a treat, which is what we're doing here. We're making a treat. From this point right here, we're gonna start a 3-minute timer and just continually stir so the bottom doesn't burn with all these sugars in here. starting to darken up and thicken a little. Okay, we're at our 3 minutes. I'm gonna turn the heat off so it doesn't boil over. Then half a teaspoon of baking soda. This is gonna thicken your sauce up and give it a nice foamy texture. All right, we're at 12 minutes here. Just gonna give it a little poke. Did not come back clean, so it's gonna need a couple more minutes. I'm gonna do about 4 more minutes. So we added 4 more minutes, so these have been in here for 16 minutes. Nice clean fork, we're calling those done. You don't wanna overdo them.
You know you're supposed to steam this.
What?
Yeah, that's how they make it in England.
I don't steam it, so this is how I make it. So we've got the taste panel out here, and then we got the sauce. Like to drizzle that on. Right out of the cow creamer. They were making fun of me because I didn't put the cream in the creamer.
I want more sauce than that.
More sauce on yours?
Oh, is that one mine?
That one can be yours. We're gonna go in order. 1, 2.
It's just made to have.
I have a lot of sauce. I can put a lot of sauce on.
Okay.
All right, and at this point you can put whipped cream. You can do ice cream. I just like to do a little cream.
Yeah, I like more cream than the sauce.
These people are judgy.
I'm not judging.
Okay.
I haven't said a word.
I know.
More cream too. I thought that was. Here, pass the milk, Amelia.
I can barely retire.
Pass me a pint. In England, like when you stay at an Airbnb, they give you a pint of milk in your fridge. I'm like for one person?
All right, how is it?
I don't know. Let me try it.
Is it what you've been waiting for? You've been asking me to make this for like a week.
It's my favorite. It needs lots of cream and sauce, though.
It's really good.
It's a little overbaked around the edge.
What? You lie to me. It is not.
And it's not traditional, but I like to eat it with pecans, but that's good.
All right, so they have eaten all of the sticky toffee pudding that was crusty on the sides, apparently. It wasn't. It turned out really great. Hopefully you guys try this recipe out and you like it, and then make sure you're staying tuned and checking back on the channel because we're gonna have a lot more recipes coming. We always do our own twist. We don't eat anything like the recipe says. We make it our own.
We're going to be working on our own recipe book, so hopefully by the end of the year we'll have Zeb's famous recipes and a few things that I make.
I don't know, do we need to do a subscribe? I don't think so.
Subscribe for more Homestead.
Hit it! Hit it!